Looks too dark.
Preparing to live stream the meeting, setting up your meeting, blah, 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 blah. It's it. We should be good.
Yes, it says video is being live streamed, so that means that we are rocking. Hey,
Yeah.
how's it going, guys? Welcome to SongNet.
Yeah.
I'm Jimmy, and we're going to be having a really good night tonight. Tonight we've got Chris Hot Rod Long, and he's going to be talking a whole lot about some interesting things here. Artist development, A&R, and those kinds of things are important to this industry. And a lot of times when we get producers and everything else, the producers are looking at the artists and going, well, why do I want to work with these people? And honestly, sometimes, even though the material is good, if the artists themselves don't understand what's going on, or they're just not quite ready to jump into this industry as artists, then it could be a little bit of a problem. So Chris is here to help out with that, and you got all night to ask him questions and stuff, and of course he'll be listening to your stuff. So at this point, let's go ahead and give it over to Chris and let him talk about what he's been doing, how he's been doing it, how long he's been doing it, and then we'll start listening to some stuff. So Chris, take it away.
Thank you, Jimmy. I really appreciate it. Stephen, thanks for having me tonight. My name is Chris Long. I am too old to refer to myself as my old nickname, which is Hot Rod, which is my email address and my name right there on when you scroll over my box. Anybody can reach out and send me an email if you want. As I was just saying, I manage producers. I manage a couple of artists that I believe in, that I'm developing. I also have done A&R, which is a large part of management. You have to develop the songs and get them to where they need to be before I can go pitch them to record labels or sync people or publishers that deal directly with sync people. We'll talk more about that in a bit. And I've been doing this. I started writing for magazines when I was 19. I moved here to escape Virginia. Has anyone ever seen Hee Haw? That's what it was like where I grew up. So you can Google that. You can Google that. And I am definitely a city person. So I was not very happy living 60 miles one way from a record store, movie theater, anything like that. So I got out to LA 6 weeks after I turned 19. Somebody dared me to start writing for music magazines. I thought I was just going to move here and work in a factory or sell TVs or something. And that was 35 years ago. And I had an A&R job working for a major label when I was 21. The writing for magazines led to concert promoting, where I discovered a band called Caius, who are now Queens of the Stone Age, Stone Temple Pilots. There's one of their records on the wall behind me there. Worked with Rage Against the Machine. I was recently, along with 100 other people, interviewed for the Ice-T's Body Count book. I was the first promoter that he worked with. That label closed down after a few years. I went and did marketing at the LA Times for 5 years while I was working for Taxi. It was a really nice opportunity to get to do both. I found a band at Taxi in the year 2000. I spent a couple of years developing them. They were called Crossfade. They got signed in 2002. The record came out in 2004, coming up on 20 years in a few weeks. And they had the most played song of the year in the entire country on 2 radio formats in 2005. It stayed in the charts for 65 weeks at one format and 48 weeks at another. These were the actual recordings that the band and I made together. And it was the guitar player and the singer who wrote everything and recorded it all down in this basement. And that record, they still have over 3 million listeners a month on streaming. And it's a big earner. It's one of the bigger records of the 2000s in that rock genre. I discovered Christina Perri. It wasn't very difficult to discover her. Saw her at the grocery store and looked at her, and she was 22, covered in tattoos and a pair of blue jean shorts and knee-high Doc Martens. And I said, sing or act? And she said, excuse me? I said, why did you move to LA? And she said, oh, I'm a singer. And I went to get another band a record deal who signed with Republic. I shopped her around to 6 people that I knew who I thought one at least would be smart enough to sign her. And I'll kind of get to the reasons as I go through some of the songs why that didn't happen and why that is what it took to get her signed. and how that's an important part of everybody's process if what you're trying to do is get yourself a record deal. How you have to accept the fact that this is the way the record business works nowadays. I don't know if anybody's seen Christina Perri, but at 23 years old, it doesn't get much better looking than that. The voice wasn't, you couldn't get any better sounding than that. And the songs she wrote on her own were as good as any that she's released, that she's written with these co-writers. And that still wasn't enough. But the main thing I'm going to do is when I talk to you individually, when I listen to your music, I'm going to find out, are you trying to be an artist? Are you trying to pitch to sync? Or are you trying to sell your songs to other artists to get them to cut the track? Because your answer to that question is going to determine what I think is going to be useful information that I can give back to you. So I want to be as helpful as possible. And if you're trying to sell a song to an artist to get them to cut it, I shouldn't sit here and pontificate for 10 minutes about what you need to do to get a record deal as an artist, because that's not what you're trying to do. So I just, when your name is called, I guess just, tell me what it is that you want to do, what your plans are for this song, and what else you have going on. And if you want to talk about marketing, we can talk about that as well. That will probably come up in my answers to most of you. But as a manager and A&R person, and to go back to the Christina Perri thing, nobody signs anybody based on talent anymore. They sign people based on, remember the girl that was on some, like Maury Povich or some TV show, who had this trashy wash your back thing where she said this stuff? She got a record deal and she had never had a song in her life. She'd never sung in her life. I forget what her name is now, but she's got about 2 million listeners a month on Spotify. And she created this character that had all these social media followers, and the labels went to her and said, why don't we give you a record deal? And she's like, well, I don't know what she said, but basically had never written a song, had never been a singer, but she had this built-in following, and that got her a record deal. And they've pushed her, and she's pretty good at the Cardi B type rap stuff, if that's what you're into. I'm not, but that's sometimes what it takes to get yourself a record deal. So go ahead, and I'll shut up now and let the gentleman run the show, and take a listen to what you guys have to share and give some feedback. So thanks for letting me do the introduction, and I'm very glad to be here tonight. Thank you.
All right, Steve, it's all yours.
Okay, well, let's see. First up, let's these are in the order I received them. So let's have Gia up. And so this, what I'll do is share my screen so you can see the lyrics.
Okay.
And so I just have to get some windows here opened properly.
And before you press play, Gia, what is it you're trying to accomplish with this song?
This one was, it's a co-write with Mo Pleasure, Earth, Wind, and Fire. And we were thinking, actually, we did this on a retreat. We were thinking it was syncable. So it was really done with that more in mind, as opposed, although I'll release it as an artist, but that was really the intention behind the song. He produced it too.
Yeah. And which one in Earth, Wind, and Fire was Mo? Was he Earth, Wind, or Fire? No, I'm just kidding. What instrument did he play?
Yeah, he was the bass. He was the bass. Yeah.
Very good.
Okay, so here we go. It's called Beyond the Veil.
Used to think there's never enough time. Now I've got all the time in the world. What a surprise, saying our final goodbyes. It's not as bad as you've heard. Looking down from a place high up above, I can see what's really going on? After fear has passed away, all that's left is love. When all is said and done, life is beautiful when you get beyond the veil. Things look much better from above. If you take the time to lighten your load, you'll find your heaven wherever you go. Looking back on the gifts I was given, I cherish them, each and every one. No regrets in a life that's been worth living. Give yourself some peace and have some fun. Floating through space and time, I let my body go, held on to my mind.
All right. That's a very, very good, what's called retro adult contemporary sound.
Mhm.
It's for sync. The good thing is that they're always looking for songs from all different eras and all different genres. The bad thing is, and we have the Writers Guild of America and the Screen Actors Guild to blame for this. After the strikes were settled, they were allowed to go around and spike the ball for 3 days. And then the networks came out and said, we're cutting the amount of programming we're making by 50%.
Wow.
And there are half as many shows being made. There are shows being made now with 5 episodes instead of 8 or 10. There's a lot of stuff that's being made. If you go on Netflix and Amazon, if you have an account, you'll notice is coming from out of the country. And most of the Netflix stuff that is new is coming from out of the country. And I went to a Zoom meeting that the California Copyright Convention, the CCC, had, and those are $5. And you guys should, if you're songwriting, taking it serious, you should definitely look into them, whether you're in California or not. And I put a question in, and they called it first and spent the whole rest of the meeting talking about it, which is, yes, these foreign productions are an opportunity to get your song synced in things that are not filmed in America, but it's only going to work if your publisher has boots on the ground in those territories.
Mhm.
So if you sign with, Jill and Jack's Publishing, who have a great record in the US, but no international offices, it's a lot less likely that those songs are going to be heard by the people who are making most of the content that's going to be on American streaming. Now, that's unfortunate. I thought that you needed a bigger lift in the chorus. You needed to do a little more to have the chorus come out. It kind of, it took a little long to get there, and it didn't jump out and grab me. Choruses need to just go and kind of like the Kool-Aid guy from the 70s where he'd crash through the wall at the kid's birthday party. The chorus kind of needs to do that in your song in order to get the attention of the people that are listening to it. But that was it. The lyrics are great, and it's very, 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 very authentic retro AC. That's the kind of style when I was growing up that my mom listened to all the time, and that song would have fit perfect on the radio with the songs that she was listening to at that time into the 90s. But now adult contemporary has kind of become Brandy Carlisle and different, there's still the classic adult contemporary, but the modern adult contemporary is a lot different, and it's a lot more guitar based, or it's a lot more classic R&B based stuff. And this one was somewhere in the middle of being a guitar song and a classic R&B song. But it's the lyrics are great. You sound good. It almost sounded like you were trying to have a Southern accent in the beginning of the song. I don't know if that was just me. But it was a good vocal performance, and I did enjoy what I heard. So
Thank you. That's actually still a demo. I've got a okay, so to your points, I had an exclusive sync deal signed with a UK-based company. I haven't shown him this one yet, but he picked up one of my other songs. And then there's another group that I've been invited into. They do songwriting, and their producers are from Norway, and they pitch songs to the more European and Nordic countries, and also Korean. I guess they rework the English lyrics. So, based on what you're saying, would that be a good avenue to pursue, do you think?
yeah, I mean, there's a whole genre on Netflix called Nordic noir that is these kind of not exciting, but when something happens, it's like, whoa, crime drama type things. So the Nordic countries are big, and you can use English. Most of the people there speak English, and there's a lot of stuff, a lot of content being made in Korea. So that's not a bad connection to have. But when you sign something exclusively, then you can't take it back and release it. You can't take it back, or they become the publisher if you release it. And it's there goes half the money right there from if there is money from streaming. So just make sure that you're committed that song is something you want to pitch for sync. And if so, and you have that relationship and that opportunity, that's not a bad thing to have.
Okay. Yeah. So I'm not confining myself to sync for sure. I'm sort of a little bit more artist driven, but yeah.
Okay.
But we can talk. We can talk
Yeah.
side on this.
Just run this your
Is this a new email? Is this a new?
That's the same one. That's the same one.
Okay, because yeah, I can show you something, based on what you're saying, that's a little bit more contemporary.
Okay, well, I do consulting sessions with artists all the time where I really help them break the songs down. And like I said, I manage a couple of producers, and if that's something you want, I'll send you their reels and you can listen, see if there's someone you want to work with.
Okay.
All right.
Chris.
Thank you, Gia. Hope you stick around.
Oh, I will.
Okay, cool. All right, who's next?
Next we have Pierre Engelbert. This is called Us Again, in a Better Place. I think.
All right, can I ask Pierre a couple of questions?
Please.
Okay, what is it that you want to do, Pierre? Are you an artist? Are you writing for Sync or for other artists?
So I'm an artist, and this will be part of my 6th album, which is coming out later this year. But this one song is sung by a friend of mine, a female vocalist, and that's the only one of the album that she sings. Otherwise, it's me. And so I'm also thinking that maybe I would like to pitch this song because I'm just wondering whether it might have any appeal to any other artist. I don't know.
Okay.
Let me share my screen. And
guess it's always the way I wake up now, with your smile in the frame, the memory of your pain. I go and make it through the day, I don't know how, and when the picture fades, I call and call your name. And then I pray the earth would turn the other way, that it would bring us back to our carefree early days. I pray like a fool blinded by her grief. I know better than to believe I will hold you again. You were the first one to go. I hope you know that when us again in a better place. We spent our days together as if there would be many more.
All right. I really like the story. That's very good lyrics. And she's got a nice voice. She could have put a little more oomph into the delivery of the chorus. She could have put a little more of the emotion of the story into her delivery there. It's a similar but not identical kind of retro adult contemporary to what Gia did. Hers was more R&B, and this is more traditional piano, pop, jazz. Maybe Julie London's a reach, but something a little more in that direction than R&B. And I think that the chorus needed to also arrive a little sooner. It took you a little long to get through that first verse. You might want to work on tightening things up a little bit with the lyrics and the melody. If you're trying to put out a record and this is this one song featuring this female vocalist, you're probably going to want to consider that to be a single, and you really need to get to the chorus in the first 45 seconds, and that's like as long as you want to take to get to a chorus in TikTok attention span shortened world that we live in today. And the thing about writing for other artists, I'll tell you a story and you'll hear how it applies to what I'm saying to you. I met a young lady, and I'm not going to say her name, and it'll become evident at the end of the story why, at the Taxi Road rally about 8 years ago. And she was good. She was really good. But she was doing this kind of Melissa Etheridge dated woman with an acoustic guitar type girl power type thing. And it took like 90 seconds to get to the chorus in the first song. And I was just like, oh. And she gave me a record, and I started working with her, and I spent about 1.5 years developing her. And the first thing I told her is, look, you just got a degree in music production from one of the more prominent music schools, colleges in the country. And your mom bought you every damn widget and gadget. You got the most incredible home studio I've ever seen. Why don't you start writing songs for other people and using your talent to write songs that can get you a deal as a songwriter because you're that good, and then try to get yourself a deal as an artist. And I worked with her for about 1.5 years, and she was getting really, really, really good. And then I did something I don't think any other band manager has ever done. One of her parents was dying, and I got them a new liver. I went to high school with a woman who works at the Mayo Clinic. This kid did not even fucking say thank you for doing that. And I just told her, I called her up one day, and she didn't have a car, and I made her Uber over to my neighborhood. I was real passive aggressive about it. She showed up to lunch, and I was already eating, which she and her mother did to me several times, and is rude as hell. And I said, I just can't work with you anymore. I can't. You're really, really, really good. Keep doing what you're doing. Best of luck. She's now had 7 or 8 different cuts with 7 or 8 different artists, and she's a full-time staff writer with Warner Brothers or Warner Chappell, because she started writing songs that sounded like what artists who don't write their own songs record. She's got a couple of hick hop songs, which are the country rap with the strong melody and the real country voice where the guy's rapping. That's a big genre, believe it or not. She just had a track that got published last week by the only thing I can say is this woman that sounds like Adele from Nashville. And she's had many records and many, many opportunities and done very well for herself, and has, 7-figure a month listeners on Spotify. And this young lady is having this successful career because she started writing songs that sounded like artists who need songs today. And that's the one thing that I didn't hear in this song as far as pitching it to another artist, is they're going to say, well, it doesn't sound like it's what's on the radio. It doesn't sound like what's on the radio today. And that would make it a little more difficult for you to find a home with an artist of renown for this song. Now, are there singers out there who would want to cut this? Of course. Are there singers out there who might have money to give you a little bit up front to record the song? Of course. But are there signed artists that can go out and get the song the attention and bring in the income that you deserve and that you're after? They're going to want to hear a more modern version of the song. And like I said, I won't mention this young lady's name after what I said, because that would be pretty dirty, and I don't like talking smack about people. I'll talk it about a random person, but I won't tell you who it is. And that's something that I have actually seen and been involved with working for someone, is like, okay, you're a good writer, and you are, but just start spending time listening to what's on the radio. The stuff you might go, I don't want to hear that shit. That's the stuff you need to be listening to as a songwriter, in order to say, okay, now I'll tell you her name because I haven't met her yet. And don't have anything to say but great things about her. There's a young lady named Lola Young, who's from England, and she's kind of like Amy Winehouse meets The Clash, and it's incredible. And I'm so excited. I know someone at Live Nation, because the $25 tickets immediately went to their aftermarket website for $150. And I called up and said, I never ask you for anything. I'll get you a big ass bag of Ghirardelli chocolate. Get me on the list. And I'm going to go see her at the Echo on Sunday. And I think 20 or 30 years from now, if I'm still lucky enough to be alive, I'll go, I remember I was there that night. She's someone really, really, really special. And I don't think you should just write for someone like her, but I think you should listen to her and find her contemporaries, because that's who's leading the pack of these new artists. She writes her own stuff. She doesn't need any help. She's really good, but there's going to be 1,000 people that are going to try to want to sound like her. And she's kind of a dumpy British girl with freckles and buck teeth. I mean, but once she starts singing, you're just like, oh shit. Wow. Listen to that. And as a songwriter writing songs for other people, that's an important part of the process, is recognizing who you're writing for and incorporating that into your writing. So I hope that was helpful.
This is super useful. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Could you repeat her name? Lola Young? You said?
Lola Young, Lola Young.
Okay, I'll check her out.
Start at her first record and then work your way up to her new single, which is where she starts really rocking out. She masterfully fits some curse words in that song that I just love when people fit curse words in, is just epically genius level as she did on the new single. That might make you go to that first, but just kind of follow what she's done and look at those artists you all that feature on Spotify. The artist you might also like, you can find a lot of stuff that way. You find an artist and then you use that feature, and who else that's listening to this artist, who else are they listening to? And that'll drive you and help you find these people that you can write for.
Thank you so much, Chris. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Pierre. I appreciate it. I hope you stick around.
I will.
Okay, next up we have Emmanuel Lawrence. This is called Good Gumbo.
Oh, cool. Emmanuel, before we start, you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Excellent. What is it you're trying to do with your song Good Gumbo? Are you trying to get it released as a single? Trying to get it synced? You're trying to get an artist to cover it? All of the above? What else? What is it that you're trying to do?
A little bit of all of the above. It's a scratch track. I'd like to pitch it to sync for film and TV, but also pitch it to an artist.
Okay.
Well, you're sitting in the kitchen, can't decide what to make, it to fake, come to mind. Lots of work, heaven's sake. Kathy Olay and beignets would sure hit the spot. So would poor poutine, savory, spicy, and hot. Well, now pull out all of your pods, pull out all of your pens, pull out all of the stops, do everything that you can. No cooking classes or shows, 'cause today you're making good gumbo. Good gumbo. Good gumbo. Now turn off your phone, turn on the kitchen lights. Now sharpen all of your knives, that's how you do it right. Devein 4 pounds of shrimp, cut veggies, cubed and small. It's okay, just that way. When your guests come to call, now pull out all of your.
Man, you really did an excellent job of describing how to make gumbo in great detail. You know, cutting the carrots, 4 pounds of shrimp. The lyrics were really great, and you made me realize I missed dinner, man. So I'm not going to rush through this, but now I'm hungry and my stomach's growling because I wish there was a New Orleans. The New Orleans place in Chinatown closes at 5 o'clock, so I can't even go down and get some gumbo right now. But I'll be okay. I need to miss a few more meals, but that was a really great story, and I really loved the way you structured the song as well. You had a really strong structure where you got to the pre-chorus and the chorus in good time, and I could tell with what you were doing, it is a scratch demo, that the pre-chorus and the chorus were written to stand out more in the song, and I can tell that. But the melody and the verses needed a little bit of work. And the problem with scratch recordings now, man, especially for sync, is the proliferation of affordable home recording. You can't pitch anything other than broadcast quality stuff to sync people because they need something right then, right there. And if they hear your song and go, oh, that would be perfect if it was recorded better, and you get it done in 6 days, they might already have that slot filled. And, right. So that's the thing with, before you let someone hear it. There was an old commercial with Charles Barkley and Scottie Pippen in the 90s where they were on these horses in front of this very stately British manor. And the guy, all the people were wearing tuxedos doing yard work. And it was a deodorant commercial. It's because you never get a second chance to make a first impression, was the line from Speed Stick. And with your music, it's very much the same way, where you want to make sure that you put your best foot forward first in case and when people do hear it, they're going to hear something that's not scratch. Now, recordings cost money. I think that song is one that is good enough to get a better recording of. And I, can't tell you, I don't know your financial situation. I'm not going to pretend to, but there was a lot of really good stuff there. And like I said, the not being broadcast quality and the melody needing just a little bit of work, which is something your producer can help you with, or if you work with a producer, I think that it's got a lot of potential, but right now I wouldn't try to let the supervisor crowd hear it. Because then when you come around with the second version, they're going to go, oh, yeah, I already heard this shit.
Got it. Well, thanks a lot. I appreciate the feedback.
No problem, man. That was really, really good. And I'm glad you submitted it. And I hope you stick around. Thank you very much.
Will do. Thank you.
Sure thing.
Okay, next is Kennedy York. This is called Mess Around Valerie.
All right, Kennedy, what is it you're trying to do? Artist? Sync? Can't hear you, Kennedy. Got to unmute.
Sorry, I'm on mute. Yeah, artist definitely is. I mean, that's what I am. It's artist. I mean, I just constantly write songs, but lately, what I'm focused on is trying to, you know, get it in film or TV or that route. But to answer your question, yes, artist. Website, all that kind of stuff. Sell my stuff online.
Are you
Pandora.
Are you averse to streaming, or are you going to stream it as well?
I stream.
Okay,
Yeah.
very good. Some artists only want their Bandcamp, and that's a different discussion. I'm glad we don't have to have that now. So good. That's okay. Cool. So all right, I'll take a listen and make some notes.
Thanks. I'm gonna go off camera.
We can take our time, my disillusioned narrow mind, and take another mojo night. I'll end up high. She looks a bit like Sandra Dee. A little lipstick's all she needs. A paper cup with Chardonnay. She'll end up high and watch her mess around on me. Watch her mess around on me. Kiss up in too frequently discourages her majesty. Can take another closed down door. She'll end up scorned. A closet filled with lingerie to satisfy another day. Take another social scene. I'll end up bored and watch her mess around on me. I'll watch her mess around on me. She'll mess around on me. We can take her time, my disillusioned narrow mind. Can take another mojo night. I'll end up high. She hates it when I play it cool.
All right, that was interesting. I love the super short intro. That's real smart for a song that you're going to try to pitch to get on the radio. Sync, it doesn't matter as much, but for yourself as an artist, streaming, even playlist programmers listen for good structures like that, because if the song's not well structured, somebody might not just skip to the next song, they might skip to the next playlist. And playlist curators that's kind of like the version of what I did when I started with the magazines and the concerts. These people are trying to playlist curate their way to a job in the record industry. So that's really smart. But you got to be current. I recognize the name Sandra Dee, but I can't remember who that is.
Gidget.
Yeah, see, man, I'm 54, and that was on TV when I was a kid, man.
Well, we'll teach them. These young kids have to know what's up.
Don't put yourself in the position of being a teacher. Put yourself in the position of being young at heart and say, who is this Taylor Swift, or who is Cardi B fits perfectly in the rhyme instead of Sandra Dee? Who is this Cardi B? And that's really important, because that's going to be a lyric that grabs the attention of a lot of people, not necessarily the audience that this music is going after stylistically. It had a little, the interesting lyrical theme the nature of your relationship with this person was something that caught my attention. The vocals were good, but the guitar sound, and this is another thing that's really important, and it's for sync less, but also for artists, it's things need to sound a little more modern. I was listening before I came in the meeting. I was sometimes before I do stuff like this, I just listen to like 8 or 10 of my favorite songs just to put myself in a really good place.
Mhm.
Oh man, I just had so much fun listening. Let's go listen some more. Yay. And there's a guy named Kurt Vile, Kurtvile. And he's someone who's very unique and left of center and quirky, kind of like you are. And he's got a song called Pretty Pimpin', where he's guitar sound in that song is just really amazing. The story is too, but you'll hear that. But that kind of more modern guitar sound is something that you might want to, go for as well. But
For sure.
it was really interesting. It was well put together. Like I said, the story had the naughty elements that would get people's attention, that got my attention, and that made it pretty interesting. And it was cool. But for sync, I don't think the recording quality is quite as strong as it needs to be to get. It's really teetering on the cusp of broadcast quality.
Got it.
Yeah, so that's something that for them is just if not more important than a strong structure and a big hook are for people looking for top 40 hits.
Right. Got it.
With sync people, it's got to be an obvious broadcast recording quality.
Yeah, for sure. What was the guy's Kurt Vile, did you say?
Yeah, and the song is called Pretty Pimpin'.
Pretty Pimpin'.
Pretty
Okay.
Pimpin'.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
It is
Thank
indeed Pretty Pimpin' song. So I hope you like it if you check it out. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
Sure thing. Thanks, Kennedy. Hope you stick around.
Thank you. I will.
Okay, next up is Ed Lackey. This is called The Sun Is Up.
All right, Ed, tell me what you're writing for and anything else you want to tell me before we start to listen.
All of the above.
Got it. All right, ready when you are.
Yeah, it's
I tell you, ma, what I have to say. You know you had a very good day. The sun is up, the breeze is good. Try dancing like you know you should. Love is in the air. Life is great. Turn around. See the world, I can't wait. The sun is up. The breeze is good. Try dancing like you know you should. The sun goes down and day is end. Life is good. You know, my friend. The sun is down. The breeze is good. Right in.
All right, let me just finish my notes here. I really like the recording, and I really like what you did stylistically. It was like some of the old 60s reggae that sometimes I'll go through a phase and listen to. It had that kind of really beach friendly vibe, not like a modern Jack Johnson acoustic guitar beach friendly vibe, but like the, island friendly, a Caribbean vibe. And I really like that. It was a good recording, and you've got a really unique voice. But for me, that song needs somebody like more like with a soul voice, like the girl Lola Young, somebody who it's a more, just naturally R&B friendly type of vocal, or a reggae friendly type of vocal. Alton Ellis comes to mind, who was one of the great reggae singers before the 70s, before the Bob Marley invasion. And it turned everything into, weed and getting high and goofing off. Reggae is a really serious history, and it's a genre that I really enjoy. I need to listen to more of it now that I think about it. I might do that tonight. Got some records I might break out, but I thought that was the one thing that didn't quite mesh well right there, was the vocal needed to be more soulful, and you needed to make the choruses stand out more. You needed to the choruses just, they were in the right place, but they just, like I said, a chorus has to, like jump through the wall like a bear. Yeah, it has to be something that's just unmistakable. If you're sitting in your house right now, any one of us, and a bear jumped through the wall, you're gonna go, oh! It's gonna scare you, but you're gonna not be able to miss it. It's gonna not be something that you just and the chorus there needed to be a little bit more of a bear jumping through a wall, and have a little more power behind it to really sell the song. I think since the recording quality is so high, I don't know, where do you live? What part of the country are you from?
Eagle Rock, California.
Oh, well, you're right up the street. So you can, I would seriously consider, if it's easy and affordable for you to record, for you to put an ad on Craigslist looking for a R&B friendly or reggae friendly female singer, or male if you want, to do that song, and see what comes out of that, because I think that could turn it into something pretty special. I think it's got that potential to it, but just right now it still needs some development to it. But it was a lot of really good ideas, and I really did enjoy that one. And I hope I did you justice with the feedback. And just keep the parts of the song where they are, give them their own identities, and consider a more soulful, just a naturally soul friendly vocal. Some it could be Sam Cooke, or it could be Alton Ellis, a reggae vocal, or just something that when you hear it, you just go, whoa.
Thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
I like the feedback.
Thank you. I like hearing that. Makes me feel good. So, and again, my email is up there in the box. So if you guys want to send me an email, I'll be glad to get back to you as fast as I can. So I guess we're ready for the next contestant.
That would be, excuse me, Larambe, and this is called These Lovin' Arms.
Hey, Larambe.
Hello.
What is it you're trying to do? Are you writing as a artist? Are you writing for other artists? Are you writing for Sync? What is it you want to do with this song?
It was originally written for Kebmo.
Okay.
And he kind of said, I could take it and run with it. So I could kind of do it, but basically it's for whomever.
Okay.
Been a while since I seen that smile, more than worth walking 10 million miles. Just want to wrap these loving arms around you. Though we're grateful for our phones, they can't take the place of being home alone with you. wrap these loving arms around you. These arms were tailor-made to tenderly embrace you. They're strong enough to pull you up or pull you through. Can't wait, can't wait, can't wait. Lonely nights for the both of us. Never knew that I would miss you so much. Just want you around you. Oh, I can't wait till I arrive, so I can gaze into those dreamy eyes. Just want to wrap these arms around you. That's all I want you to do. Is wrap these loving arms around you. Listen, babe. These arms are tailor-made for you, just for you. They are strong, so strong. Enough to pull you up or pull you through. Darling, your touch is what I miss so much. Been a while since I seen your smile.
Man, that was really good.
Thank
I'm
you.
trying not to curse, but that was really fucking good. You know,
Hey, curse if
sorry.
you want to. Curse if you want to.
Yeah, that was really good. You had a really great melody and strong lyrics. It had a little bit of a country vibe to it, but it was more blues. If Kebmo wants to cut this, I think you should let him, because that's automatically instant publishing money and streaming money that somebody that's as recognized as him is going to bring in.
Yeah, he that was for the last album, and it just was a little too late to get it on the last album.
Well, Kebmo's going to put out another album, so remind him you exist. Remind him.
Yeah.
Remind him this song is out there, but you can't release it yourself if you want somebody else to record it. So that's the problem. And when I first found out about this about 8 years ago, like, oh, once you have a song available on streaming for a week, even if you take it down, it becomes a cover song. An artist won't want to do it if it's something that you've put out.
Mm-hmm.
So make sure you got to poop or get off the pot before you figure out how you're going to do that with the marketing, whether you want to put it out yourself. And it's a song that it could be done in several different genres.
Right.
It could be done in a really mainstream country genre. It could be done in a more traditional acoustic blues genre. It's really just a really fantastic song. Nothing against the woman that sang with you, but your voice is too good to let her clutter it up. Just my opinion. That was very impressive, man. Thank you for playing it.
Well, I appreciate it. Thank you much.
Yep. Thank you, man. Keep in touch. You got my email on the screen, so send me an email. I'd love to be able to listen to that every now and then when I wanted to, since it's not available on streaming. There's no other way.
Right.
All right. Thank you.
Okay, next we have Dan Marcus. This is called Superstar Blues.
All right, Dan, what is it you want to do? Got to unmute, buddy.
Sorry about that.
That's
I was
okay.
coughing. Probably all of the above. I guess my preference would be to have another artist cover it, or sync if this was appropriate for sync. But I'm open to anything, of course.
Okay.
Thanks.
Sure.
walk out on the stage, I take the microphone. Thousands of people watch me as I sing my songs alone. You broke my heart. You broke my heart. So I've become a superstar. But I trade it all. I trade it all to have you back in my arms. The fame and all the fortune, the glitter and the gold, somehow they just don't mean that much, 'cause inside I'm so cold. You broke my heart. You broke my heart. So I've become a superstar. But I trade it all. I trade it all to have you back in my arms. I've got a bunch of diamonds. I've got some money too. My sheets are made of satin, but my dreams are made of you. You broke my heart. You broke my heart. So I've become a superstar.
Boy, we got two really, really, really good ones in a row, man. That was really, really, really great. It was amazing vocal. The recording was fantastic. Great structure, super friendly lyrics. The chorus needs a bigger lift, and you might want to have a few less lines in the chorus. You know, say more with less.
Okay.
You know, here it kind of the chorus dragged a little bit because it had, I think, a couple extra lines in it. But what you're doing stylistically, it's another one of those things where everybody I know that writes songs like these writes their own songs.
Right.
And so getting an artist to cover it is not something I think would be that realistic for this one.
Okay.
But it's got a story with Sync written all over it. And I don't know, are you familiar with the show Peaky Blinders from Netflix?
No, I am not. I need to be.
You need to write down a lady's name named Anna Calvi, Calvi.
Okay.
Peaky Blinders was filmed in post World War I, Birmingham, England, and they did soundtrack. The music supervisor was a big fan of Nick Cave and stuff that sounded just like what you're doing right now, except a little heavier and a little darker. And Anna Calvi was the person who did a lot of the composing for the stuff that wasn't actual licensing of the Peaky Blinders, you know, of songs for the series. I think you should take a listen and you should spend some time listening to that stuff and kind of grasp the dark that you could really add to this song that has done very well for a lot of people right now, and that would put you in a position to put this out as a single and have a chance to get on some playlist. And definitely, of course, the question becomes, how do you get the attention of the people that choose songs for Sync? You know, that's something I don't have an answer to. The thing I failed worse at than anything I've ever tried, except hitting a curveball once kids started throwing curveballs about 15, was trying to run a music library. And it was just impossible to get people to listen, but it is possible. And finding a publisher, if you turn the dark vibe up for this song, finding a publisher or library that wanted to add that to their catalog, I think would be pretty easy for you.
Okay.
So that was really good. And
thank you.
That was you singing?
Yes.
Yeah, that's a good voice, but just like I said, I'm not trying to sound like Nick Cave, but just listen and kind of jump into that whole Peaky Blinders thing and just pay attention to that dark and grittiness and vibe, and I think you'll hear kind of where I envision you being able to take this that would make it appealing to the Sync crowd. And
excellent.
You should definitely release that yourself, because that, like I said, every artist that works in that style isn't going to split their publishing on a song with you. They're gonna want to put out their own songs.
Right. Thank
So,
you.
You're very
Appreciate it.
welcome. Thank you, man. I really appreciate that. So, hey, Jeff.
Okay.
man. It's good to
This
see
is
you.
You too. So I guess is Nancy next?
No, no, Nancy didn't submit one.
Oh, okay. Well, I hope you enjoyed the meeting, Nancy.
Yeah, and we, well, this is the last one. It's my
Oh, okay.
own.
We got one more. I apologize.
Yeah, this is mine. It's called Want to Be Loved.
Okay.
Looking for sync on this.
Okay.
I do have it. It is on Spotify already. So, I mean, I'd have about 30 songs on Spotify. But what I try to do is sync things. If an artist wants it, great, you know. But I'm mostly applying to sync opportunities.
Okay.
All right. So let's see here.
Do it because we want to be loved. We do what we do. We do it because we want to be loved. We do it because we want to be loved. We do what we do. We do it because we want to be loved. Looking down at your phone. Are you gonna make that call? 'Cause she hit you like a bolt of lightning. Are you gonna risk that fall? Do it because we want to be loved. We do what we do. We do it because we want to be loved. Do it because we want to be loved. We do what we do. We do it because we want to be loved. Are you gonna get on that stage? Are you gonna say that line? 'Cause that applause was the bolt of lightning that caused your soul to shine. Do it because we want to be loved. We do what we do. We do it because we want to be loved. We do it because we want to be loved. We do what we do. We do it because we want to be loved. Stepping out on that tightrope, swaying left and right. Keep your eyes straight ahead, and soon you'll see the light. Do it because we want to be loved. We do what we do. We do it because we want to be loved. We do it because
All right. That's a lot of good stuff going on there. It's a real short intro, which I like. It does a really good job of capturing, in my opinion, the essence of a certain time period and era, which I thought would be late 70s, early 80s. It had a bit of a British feel to it, in my opinion. I think that was really cool. The lyrics are really strong, but for sync, the story is kind of like about being a musician, and it has that element to it. And I think that would be a little limiting, because how many scenes could that story really fit in, where somebody's on the stage with the lights in their eyes and the elements that of being a performer that you mentioned. But it's a great story. It's just, I think for sync, that might make it a little more difficult to get it to fit behind a scene. That wouldn't fit behind two kids kissing. That wouldn't fit behind so many other scenes. Maybe if they were kissing at a concert, you know, maybe it could work there. But it was, you know, the choruses did need a little bit more of a lift. That was the one thing that I noticed, that you could be a little bit more excited to be telling that story and a little bit more energetic musically when you got to the chorus. But it's great. Like I said, it's the biggest selling point for Sync, I think, is it did such a good job of capturing that era. It sounded just like a certain era. And I think that was pretty cool. It's that is something that helps with Sync.
Yeah, thanks. No, I mean, the essence of it is supposed to be about people who take risks. And so, I mean, what I was thinking is the chorus could be set in several different places, but you're right. The story itself is more of a performer.
Yeah. And see, that's what people in Sync are going to respond to is how does it read? Not what does it mean? Not how could this be interpreted? They're going to say, what's the average, Mo, Larry, and Curly going to think when they hear these lyrics?
Yeah.
And
Gotcha.
so that's what I think they're going to hear is the performer aspect of the story.
Gotcha.
But I get what you're saying. So it's so thank you. I appreciate that.
Ah, most welcome.
And I had a great time
Thanks
tonight.
for your comments. Yeah.
I'll just no
Thank you.
problem. One last time, my email is in the little box. If you run the screen over it, you can send me an email. I want to let Jeff know, don't say this person's name if you remember them, but remember the person that I brought to you to do the 3 songs with the live band that freaked out about that. They've just had their 9th cut release. They're a full-time staff writer at Warner Chappell now.
Gotta love it.
Gotta love it. Indeed. Gotta love it. So Jeff was one of the producers that I introduced her to when I was working with her, the person I spoke of earlier. And she didn't, she liked the idea of going in the studio and recording with live pros. And then we talked price and that ran her off. So but yeah, this was really, I heard some really good stuff and got to hang out with some really cool people tonight. I hope I provided at least one good takeaway for you guys each. Maybe takeaways on other songs that you can apply to yourself. So I really do appreciate you guys inviting me down, and look forward to coming again soon if the invitation is still out there.
Oh, it's always out there, and I definitely owe you lunch and or dinner, man. I mean,
Yeah, man, you don't. This is not what it's about. And the food minimum wage going up so high, I don't know if you could afford to feed me anyway. So it's but yeah, and Emmanuel, you really did. I've been sitting here drooling wanting some gumbo ever since I heard your song, man. It was just so precise the way you described making the gumbo and cutting up the carrots and putting it in the pot with 4 pounds of shrimp. And it's just like, damn, the best I can hope for is a can of Campbell's soup gumbo or something I can run to Vaughn's and get right now. So I think I am going to go get some gumbo.
I can hook you up.
If the gumbo is as good as the lyrics, man, let me know where your spot is, and I'll come by and get a bowl all the time. All right.
All right.
Great.
And by the way, Jeff is our guest speaker for next month. Just to let you know why he's
All
here.
right. Jeff, you're in Santa Barbara, right?
Actually in Oxnard right now.
Oxnard. Oh, okay.
But I'll probably be moving closer to Los Angeles as opposed to Santa Barbara. Everything is wildly out of whack price-wise, so it's challenging.
Gotcha.
Are you?
But I wanted to come on and hear Chris evaluate songs because he does such an amazing job. He looks way beyond the lyric, and I always learn something from him.
Thank you. I'll make a note to come next month and cheer. I've got a couple of people that I'm working with, and maybe I'll plant them in the room and not tell you, so we can get some feedback and see what you think. But, yeah, I want one that I'm helping that's kind of ready to be heard.
Hey, Chris, are you acting as I know you're a producer, but are you acting as management, or are you acting as a kind of a guy? I mean, a consultant? I mean, what are you doing primarily?
What I'm doing now is I'm not a producer. I manage a couple of producers, and I am managing a couple of artists. I'm also doing a lot of consulting when I can find it, which usually, several times a week, I'll meet with somebody, and the way I like to do it is folks will send me over 2 or 3 songs and a list of questions. And I'll spend about an hour going through the songs from A&R and management perspective and answering the questions, and then send them a Google Meet invite at a time that works for us both. And we'll spend about an hour, 45 minutes or an hour talking. And it's $75. And that's what I've been
That's a
doing.
deal.
I know. I enjoy doing it. If I was a better businessman, I would charge more, but it's yeah, that's kind of what I'm doing more of that. Groover, the French playlist curator, I still have relationships with labels and bring in taxi listings. And, I got to make sure that the stuff that goes to those people is something that won't make them say, "Oh, don't run any more of those listings." So I do the screening on a lot of that stuff, or at least the checking up on it. And, right now I've got a kid who he's so good. He's like Noel Gallagher meets Ed Sheeran, and I know this sounds ludicrous to even include David Bowie in the in there, but that's kind of what he's like. And he's like a combination of the three of them. And he's just so fucking good, but he's just so emotional and stressed and distracted and stuff. It's so hard to get him to focus on working. And he put out an album 7 years ago that's just incredible. And he's got a couple more songs. We got a couple signed to a publisher that does a lot of work with advertising. And one of them has actually got a brand name in the song, so you know where they're going to be pitching that for commercials and stuff. And it's the consulting thing. I go on a lot of songwriter discussion groups and stuff, and it's so I just share a song called Troglodyte sometimes, either the one by Jimmy Castor Bunch, for this funky one from the 70s, or the punk rock one from a band called Viagra Boys, when everyone's like, "You should be working for me for free," rah, 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 and they don't know what the hell they're doing. And I'll just share that song and say, "Have a listen." And it's musicians, and for the most part, don't understand the importance of actually having someone guide you through development as an artist. They'll so it's tough finding work as a producer. I know I manage a couple, but it's oh, you're an A&R person, you're a manager, well, you should be working for me for free. And anyone, and I'll say this now, and if I hurt anyone's feelings, good. Anyone that charges a monthly fee to be your manager is not someone you should be giving any money to. But someone that helps you on a consulting basis, whether it's hourly or whether you set up a once a week meeting, or you call them when you need them or whatever, that's legit. And I know people that do the monthly stuff, and I won't hang out with them. I won't hang out with them. I don't comment on their social media posts. I just don't want anything to do with them. It's like, I'm a history fan, and they used to say, if you bring your army across the Rubicon River, that's declaring war on Rome. And once you start taking money from people on a monthly basis to be their manager, you cross the Rubicon of legitimacy. And I just won't do it. I really won't. I've had people offer, "I'll give you $5,000 a month to manage me," and I'm thinking like, oh shit, I could stop doing all this other stuff. And nope, I can't do it. And it's just not something I want to do. I've made it 35 years without doing that. And I definitely don't have 35 left. I haven't taken very good care of myself, but I'm not going to do that unless it's life or death. And then maybe not even. It's wrong. It really is. So finding people that understand the importance of having someone that has the skill set that I do is there. It's very difficult. It's a lot of work. I spend a lot of time trying to find these clients, and when I do, they usually come back. And that's,
yeah, because you're the real deal, dude.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it. So I done some stuff. I did some stuff. Yeah, I did some stuff. So it's you share your resume with them, and just hope for the best. But that's kind of where I am right now. And are you producing anyone currently? I do keep in touch with your social media, and sometimes I comment on your post. I saw you did a record a couple of months ago with it looked like a pretty interesting lineup.
We I produced a girl from Norway just recently.
Yeah, that's the one.
That actually she's actually making a few CDs too. Remember
Okay.
those? Anyway, they still do a little CD work in Norway, but that's coming out in a few weeks, and that was a really great project. Her parents are very involved, and she's a teenager, and we picked the songs together. She actually wrote a song for the first time, which was, as you might expect, not record ready, not radio ready. So what I did is I turned it over to kind of a ghostwriter, Harold Payne, who, I bet a lot of people know, who is a great song doctor. And after he really made that song cohesive with a compelling melody line in the verse and the chorus, then I turned the arrangement over to a guy named Troy Loretta, who is the former musical director with Ariana Grande, and we had an all-star band because my philosophy is, and we can get into this next month, Jimmy, you just tell me to shut up, is when you have a new artist, you have to rise above the noise. And with 120,000 songs being released every single day, that's a lot of noise. And so providing credibility, great material, is really one of the best ways to engage the peer-to-peer recommendation engine, which is my philosophy on how we sell music. And so having, those guys, those pros, it's just such an amazing group. And right before that, I for the first time I did a Afrobeat gospel tune with a singer from Trinity who's really an opera singer, really very, very good, but very spiritual, and wanted to do a gospel song but Afrobeat wise. So I used a guy named Dapo Toramiro from Nigeria, who spends a lot of time working. Well, he lives here, so, and he's, John Legend uses him, Bieber uses him, Demi Lovato, all sorts of people. But I wanted to make the Afrobeat portion of it legit, because if you look at me, you wouldn't think that I am, I'm a get down type of guy, and you'd be right.
You do not make me think of Fela Kuti, that's for sure. So
I do not take that as anything but a compliment. But needless to say, so yeah, I'm doing some stuff, but also I've been producing large multi-day music festivals too. So that's interesting, because I'm trying to think of ways to advance my artist's career and to get them into areas where they don't have to call their family and tell them to come out and see them. They're at the shopping mall performing. So if I could get them on a bill to, as an opening act or a second act, where the audience, even though it may be sparse, they didn't have to call that person. I'm trying to establish a relationship between the artist and the attendees. And so it kind of morphed into, well, you do it. And so I've been doing it.
Well, let me know if you need any rockers. That's my specialty. So
yeah, as a matter of fact, we should talk. I've got a festival in Santa Barbara in October that I'm working on. Money is always a challenge. Sponsorship's always a challenge. But if that goes off, I may need an up and coming artist, and rock is definitely part of the equation. And
I fired him because I couldn't, I never had to fire a client before, but there's an expression, and I'll use the polite phrasing of it. For every pretty girl in the world, there's someone sick of kissing them. And his band was the pretty girl in the world I was sick of kissing. And he's really, 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 really good. And he's finally starting to realize that, he's getting older, and it's not about drinking. It's about working. And he's really, the last couple of months, gotten some stuff going on, and I'm real happy for him. And he's really good. Jimmy Page invited him to his house when his last band was in the UK. And he said, "Here, play this guitar that I did the solo for Stairway to Heaven on." And he's left-handed. So he turned it upside down in front of Jimmy and did the perfect version of the solo of Stairway to Heaven, left-handed, upside down on Jimmy Page's guitar. And Jimmy Page, came to his graduation at Berkeley and stuff. So
that's a moment.
Yeah, it was cool. Joe, you guys were mentioning earlier Sixth Man. And Sixth Man did a blues cruise. We went on Joe Bonamassa's blues cruise last year, right about a year ago right now. We were out on the water. And
I remember that act. You talked to me about that act.
He's still around. We did some recording a year ago, November. He's finally putting a single out this month. So go figure.
Yeah.
Go figure. But they're good, and I own 5% of them, and I hope he sells 1 million records. So well, thank you guys very much. And Jeff, it's always great to see you. And Jimmy, please remind me, I know I missed the lunch today, but anything, let me know. And, I will look forward to coming next month and watching Jeff spread his knowledge and hear some more new songs. And I think Larambe, that one was really good. And Daniel, everybody, I heard nothing that I didn't like tonight, but because of my personal taste, those were the two that stuck with me. And Ed, I really think there's some soulful singers around Eagle Rock where you can get somebody on that track that would really, really up the soulfulness of it. And I think that would be something really, really worth the effort. And if I find anybody, keep in touch. I'll let you know. Okay.
One of the things I was actually going to ask you, Chris, was that how important is the live thing these days? Because, as you know, everything's online and there's a lot of fakeness going on. There's always that wall that, is between everybody now because of the internet. But
the last thing you need to worry about is your live show, because it distracts and takes away resources from your recording and your promotion. And something a lot of people do is, I have an ad on a music website, sick of putting out music and nobody hearing it, ? And then there's a little sales pitch, and I meet with people and they're like, "Yeah, how come I only got 37 monthly listeners?" And I'm like, "Well, what have you done to promote the music?" And I'm like, "You're lucky you have 37 monthly listeners. There's 500,000 songs a week that come out. How did those 37 fools stumble across you is what you really should be asking yourself. And then, take them through the marketing process. And over the course of doing that with a lot of people that I've consulted, I found some really, really talented people through Fiverr that do an incredible job on social media and YouTube and Spotify marketing. I've got an artist I'm working with now who's putting out his new single Friday. He's my age, so we're kind of interested in the AI thing. Some of the kids are scared of it. He's got 5 songs that are recorded with 5 AI videos. I introduced him to this kid in Latvia, Riga, Latvia, who charges $150 a minute to do AI videos. And for $600, he got this new one. Is the third one. He's getting ready to put out the second one. The third one is some of the most insane shit I've ever seen in my life. And it cost him $600. It would be like a 6-figure video shoot to have done that. And the makeup alone would have been 6 figures. And it's just absolutely incredible. So, that's the kind of stuff people don't realize that, I'm going to put out these songs and like I said earlier, the Bandcamp people that only share their music on Bandcamp. I'm not letting Spotify make any money off my music. I'm like, I came up with an equivalent the other day for someone. I'm like, that's 2020 saying you were not going to let Best Buy or Walmart sell your CDs because they put them next to the refrigerators instead of the handguns. They're the only 2 places left that sell CDs, and you don't want them in selling your CDs. What the hell are you thinking? Why don't you put your music out? Spotify is going to make money. And I was in a meeting and I was talking to this kid. We're not kids anymore. And it was really funny. he was upset. He was pulling all his music off all the streaming services, and he wanted to start this streaming service where musicians made a quarter a play and this, that, and the other stuff. And I'm like, dude, who are you going to get to pay $300 a month to listen to a bunch of unknown disgruntled artists? And we kind of got into a little bit of an argument. And I said, wait a minute, are you from Rhode Island? He said, yeah. How did you know? I said, did you used to be in a band called the Laurels? And he went, yeah. I said, I tried to sign you 30 years ago to the label I work for, and you were a fucking knucklehead then. And it didn't work. And I flew to New York. I took a bunch of people. We drove up. We saw you open for Luna on the campus of Yale. And we froze our Huskers off in New Haven. It was like 10 below zero. And that was you, huh? He's like, yeah. I'm like, well, some things never change. And you know, at that point he was an indie rock band that was putting out 7-inch singles getting played on college radio, and he wanted a $500,000 advance. And now he wants to pull his stuff off of streaming services and start a streaming. I'm like, where are you going to get the money to pay a quarter a play? You're going to charge people $300 a month to pay to listen to bands no one's ever heard of. I can make it work. And I'm like, no, good luck, man. Good luck. So there's a lot of self-sabotaging behavior, I think, because people realize how difficult it is. So they automatically set themselves up to fail because they don't want to try and then fail. So they can just fail and have saved the effort from trying. And it's the marketing is so important, and it's so much more important than live shows. And if you can go like stand around and sing in a piano bar and make some money, or, you know, I have a friend in New York who's in a rock band, and she goes to nursing homes and sings, and they pay her money, and the people love her, and they buy her t-shirts, and there's like whole nursing homes wearing her shirts into the rec room. They wheel them in, and they've all got her shirts on and stuff. I told her, I'm like, you're taking advantage of these people. She's like, oh, they're only $15 a shirt. I'm like, oh, okay, thought you were selling them for $35 or something. But she makes a lot of money that way, and then spends it on her career. And she's someone I went to high school with, so she's still going at it at, you know, mid 50s. And, you know, she's still going after it because she's not satisfied with, and she's toured on Broadway plays. I went and saw her, you know, do the lead role in a play at the Pantages. So she was the backup, the understudy to the lead, the lead. It's so weird. Hedwig and an Angry Inch. She was the woman that played the man who, whatever. She did the second to lead role in that. And so she's had success in Broadway, but she just never did with her band. And so she cater waiters and sings at nursing homes and does that and spends the money marketing her band. And she's also in a Led Zeppelin female cover band called Les Zeppelin, which is they're pretty big. Actually, they're pretty big. Black Sabbath, I know those too. I know those ladies too. They should tour together, but they're both really good at what they do. But it's just, you know, the marketing is way more important than going out playing live.
Could someone hire you to listen to the track or an EP or something and create a marketing plan as a consultant?
Oh yeah, I totally am. That's what it is I do with a lot of these consulting things that I do, is say, okay, this guy does this well, this guy does this well, that guy does that well. And if you want me to deal with those guys, then you can pay me an hourly rate to deal with it, and just, you'll get the invoices, you pay them, and I'll make sure that they're doing the work. And that's, I've got a couple of clients that I'm doing that now, and it's,
it makes a lot of sense to me.
yeah. And one of the people he owns like 44 franchises of a certain restaurant, and he just doesn't have time. And he created this dish that's available in like several Major League Baseball stadiums this year. So he's got to supervise the production of this food, and it's always so much work with food and the liability and you got to make sure you don't let shavings from a can lid go in the chili or whatever. And it's, yeah. So, and he's, you know, he's my age, he's middle age, and his last single is 40,000 views on YouTube and 20,000 spins on Spotify. And that cost him $700 and for the promotion. So it's, you know, And the more I do this, the more people that I meet, and I can filter out the ones that don't do as good. And there's certain companies, to avoid, like Music X-Ray. I don't know if I'm supposed to diss anybody here, but that's just.
So Music X-Ray is not your favorite. I left them too.
Oh, they owe me a fucking shitload of money, and I left the ads on thinking I would find and I responded to everyone because I was trying to find an artist to manage. And then I realized, like, why am I helping this guy basically rip people off? I mean, I'm following through. So I just turned all the ads off, and he usually comes up with an inflow of cash about every 5 years and squares up with everyone. But I can't tell anyone anything good about that place. And I don't like to,
Well, they started off, pretty strong in the very beginning because they were one of the few that was actually doing the algorithm thing, kind of like what Shazam is now. So, that kind of thing, like we were talking about before, having those stats and all that, coming from all the bots and crap that's out there, even though it really doesn't have a whole lot to do with the music. It's all about what the marketing and the business is, I think. So
yeah, and he has misrepresented. There's a site called trustpilot.com.
Yeah.
Go to Trustpilot and see that the 85% of the 5-star reviews are from accounts that have written one review with names that are not Western.
Oh, yeah.
And then look at the other reviews. Go pull up the 1 and 2-star reviews, and they're all Western names, and they have
real people,
accounts. Yeah, they have active accounts, and that's a good way to just check any company or playlist pitch company. There's some that are just really not.
Yeah,
can't recommend them, but I'm not gonna say the names.
Sounds like Fake Spot, which is on Amazon.
Yeah,
you can see how many fake reviews there are.
Oh, what's this now?
It's called fakespot.com. And it's actually an app you can put on, your browser. And when you go on Amazon, it'll give you an A, B, C, D, E, or F, or A, B, C, D, or F rating on the reviews that you're looking at. So in other words, if the reviews are all fake, they'll get an F. If they're, a couple of them might be fake, they'll get like a B. If they're legit, they'll get an A. Yeah.
Well, that's fantastic. I'm going to add that to my list of tools. I'm bookmarking that page right now. So thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
But I really appreciate everybody coming tonight. Thank you. And I'll let you guys run the meeting, and I'll shut up and listen for a while, or whatever's next is next.
Yeah, well, we're pretty much done, for most of it. But yeah, I definitely want to. That artist that you were working with, that you sent over to Jewel Universe, how's he doing right now?
He's doing good. He's got a couple of songs that he's working on. He found a new collaborator, and he needs more of a sense of urgency. And he looks about 17, but he's 29. And he's starting to feel that sense of urgency, like, oh shit, I'll be 30 this year. I still don't need to shave more than once a week, and it's only in 2 spots on my face, but I'm going to be 30. And, so I think he's starting to realize that it's time to start getting a little more out of that talent and not sitting around worrying about why he's not already famous.
I do have one question. I think it mentioned Jethro Tull on your resume there. Could you explain that? What?
I never wanted to punch anyone so bad in my damn life as Ian Anderson, that asshole.
Really?
Oh my God. Oh, Jesus. Yeah, I worked for a label called Fuel 2000, which Len Fico owns now. It's called Sunset Boulevard. He changed Sunset Boulevard Records. He changed the name of it. And in 1990 to 2001, I must have spent 25 hours a week for 120 weeks doing promotion on that JethroTull.com and his horrid debut Secret Language of Birds, his solo record. And finally got to meet the guy in town for a show. I didn't even get a ticket to go to the show. Not that I never was really a big Jethro Tull fan. And he comes by the office, and Len's like, yeah, this is a guy that's been doing all the work, and he's been doing all the research and everything. I said, hi, nice to meet you. And he went, flautists don't touch others' hands. we bump elbows, and he put his elbow out for me to bump, and I was like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. And Len was standing behind him. Like, don't say anything, don't say anything. I was like, nice to meet you, Ian. And I bumped elbows with him, and I said, have a great show tonight. And I wouldn't have gone if I had a ticket at that point. It just made me so angry because I never liked Jethro Tull and I never liked the flute. And there are a couple Herbie Mann songs that I can listen to as an adult, some Benny Goodman every now and then if I feel like getting up and acting silly. But well, he was a clarinet, but I never liked the flute. And yeah, so I worked with him, Ian Hunter, Creedence Clearwater Revisited, which was everybody but John Fogerty, and Julian Lennon was on that label too. So I did a lot of marketing, and Len did a lot of Dead Guy reissues, and that's where I really, it was reissues of like blues guys, and he had a contract with the BBC where if I forget who else they had a contract with, if this label didn't release the record, he would get first crack at it after them. And we put out a lot of BBC Live stuff, and I would write the bios and stuff, and Small Faces. I can't believe they didn't put out Small Faces. He sold a ton of those. And just, Napalm Death and Babes in Toyland and lots of the live BBC sessions of John Peel stuff. So that was a fun gig. I had a lot of fun there. And that's where I was working when I took out the Taxi listing and found the band that had that big hit, CrossFit. So yeah, glad that I worked there just for that.
Yeah. Well, if you come down to Jewel Universe anytime, you just let me know. And that farmers market's right around the corner, and get some serious barbecue, man.
They have barbecue there.
Hey, that farmers market's got everything. You've got really good, pizza, personal pizzas. They got barbecue. They got Thai. Everything's at that.
They have barbecue pizza.
Yeah.
I might
there was pineapple pizza, right? Yeah.
No, not a pineapple. I'm not a fruit on pizza guy, but
every Thursday, man.
Every Thursday, okay.
Yeah.
I might do that. Did the gentleman ever did he get his car situation taken care of? The guy that had his car stolen that night?
Oh, that was really crazy.
Well, he left his keys in his car, and there's a bunch of teenagers walking through that area, and
the car came back, yeah, but it turned out that I got the whole story. It wasn't his car either. It was his landlord's car. He was borrowing it, and that's why it was a real issue.
Yeah, I see him at the Echo Park Farmers Market every Friday, and he's just a ubiquitous figure around the neighborhood simply from that. And he used to go to stories when they did music on the back patio and would perform and stuff. But he's always been very polite to me.
Yeah, he's a nice guy, and he's actually a very very learned person, shall we say. He's a professor at Vassar College. A lot of people don't know that. And he's written several novels. He's on his third or fourth one now. I think that's, actually going through major publications, not just vanity press. So,
wow.
Yeah, not bad. But anyway, yeah, really, Chris, I'll get you some dinner over at the Jewel Universe sometime.
Oh, you just let me in for free, and I'll feed myself. That'll be great. So I'll try to come over, and I'll spend the cover charge on a extra barbecue plate to bring home for lunch.
Hey, Hot Rod.
Yeah.
Quick question.
Yes, sir.
You didn't really specify any benefits of doing live things.
Oh, it's very rewarding if that's what you enjoy doing, and you should do it. But if your option is to spend, and for a lot of musicians, they have to pay their band and they have to pay for the rehearsal space to get together, and that's to be expected. Musicians need to work too. But if you have people that you enjoy playing with that isn't an expensive endeavor for you, you should definitely do it. And you can get yourself a lot of attention that way. The young man that I mentioned that I fired is starting to book himself and get a lot of attention and get a lot of, shows around, the Southwestern United States. And he and his friends go, and they have somewhere to stay and somewhere to, free drinks and come home with money. And that keeps them very happy at this stage of their life. So yeah, it can be very rewarding. And if you enjoy doing it, you should. But if it's about spending money on promotion or spending money on a live show, where are more people going to potentially see you? In one room or on the World Wide Web?
Well, that's one of the things. Like at Kulaks, I'm doing Kulaks every Monday now, and the videos are doing pretty well. And that's a live show, but then also because of the video aspect of it, it really changes a lot of stuff. Like I did a gig there with some friends about a month ago, and only 8 people showed up to the gig, and my friends were very disappointed. But then I said, no, just wait till the video hits tomorrow. And when the video hit the next day, 400 views immediately, all different people that we've never heard of. See?
Wow.
And now we're over 600 people there, and we're doing another show, and I think it's going to be sold out. So
excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent. I just wish that damn place was closer, man.
Well, you're on the way. I can even give you a ride there, man.
No. I'm not that lazy. I'm just saying it's more just about, it's basketball playoffs, and
yeah, there's always something, but yeah.
Oh, it's bad. Once basketball season's over, I'm dying for something to do. But until the NBA finals, I'm content to park my ass right here and watch Nikola Jokic. Oh, that
Where
guy's
are you at? Where are you located?
right next to Dodger Stadium on the Sunset Boulevard side.
Really?
Yeah, I don't say Echo Park since all the hipsters took over, but I'm actually in the border of Elysian Park. So I say Elysian Park. So I'm right. I can walk to the stadium in like 15 minutes.
Okay. I'm down the street from you.
I'm sorry, where?
Highland Park.
Okay. Yeah, you're on the other side of the stadium. Yeah.
The good side.
Yeah. The hipsters are coming that way too, man. You gotta be careful. Put out the traps with expensive bottles of wine and fancy cheese and catch them while you can. So
just being facetious.
Oh, I was being true. I wish I'd put those traps out 20 years ago.
Yeah, seriously, like that Gusado's place, that thing is always packed.
Yeah, I've only been there once because it's such a danger to park and get in and out of that parking lot. There's always people getting hit. And because we live in a city where there's really, no respect for health codes and regulations, there's a giant half a block long string of outdoor food vendors on the same block as Gusado's. And it's just really dangerous. And, those are good fancy tacos though. They're good.
Yeah. They are good, but it gets crazy out there. Okay. Well, hopefully we'll see you. Yeah.
Thank you. And keep poking me, Jimmy. I'm like a bear. Give me a couple of pokes. I won't bite you. I'll come out and hug you. Okay.
Yeah, man. I mean, we'll have you out there all the time there. And Jeff, same for you, man. Whenever you're in town, you just let me know.
We'll do.
Yeah. And then that the lunch too, the audio lunch. I came.
Forgot about that. Yeah.
Yeah. Jeff, is that my thing or is that studio people talking about gear that I won't be able to relate to as a non-musician?
Yes.
Okay.
But that encompasses me too.
Okay. Well, let's make plans to meet Jimmy one Wednesday. This coming Wednesday, I got some dental stuff I was talking about earlier, Monday and Wednesday. So, but we'll speak soon. Thank you, Gia. I hope to hear from you. I want to play you some songs from my Ukrainian producer who doesn't actually still live in Ukraine.
Okay.
Okay.
Thanks, Chris.
Okay. Thanks again. And good night, everybody. We'll see you next time.
Jimmy.
Thank you. Have a good evening. Thank you.
Thank you again.